Okay, welcome to the first day of the past paper program for stats. I probably won't have time to make too many videos this time around because I am obviously working. It's not the holidays and I've got lots of things happening at the moment with all the head of math stuff and all of you guys on exam leave and all the thousands of students that we've got. But I will try my best to make videos when I can. This first question that's come through from yesterday's paper, from day one, is a perms and comms question, which does not surprise me at all. And we've got this word Tanzania. So the first thing I would be doing is writing out the word Tanzania for myself and just analysing what I've got. So what I can see straight away is that I've got 3 A's and I've also got 2 N's. Okay, so I'm going to do that even before I read the question, just so I know that I've got duplicate letters, and that's something I have to consider later on. Okay, so for part I, they want me to rearrange all the 8 letters, but all the A's are going to be together. So I'm going to use that grouping strategy. So I'm going to group all those 3 A's together, treat them like one object, and that will leave me 5 other letters. Okay, which are the 2 N's, the T, the Z, and the I. Okay. Now, in this case here, normally when I group stuff, I'd have to consider how many ways I could arrange the objects within the group. But in this case here, the 3 objects within the group are actually all the same letter. So I don't need to worry about that this time around. Okay. So what I can say is I've got 6 factorial ways, so 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 ways to arrange those 5 letters. So if you want to look at it visually, it'd be like that: 6 times 5 times 4. And of course, one of those ones is this group here, so that's why you get 6 sort of objects altogether that you're rearranging. But after you've done your 6 factorial, you're going to have to divide through by 2 factorial, and that 2 factorial is for the 2 N's. Okay, because they're going to appear in there in duplicate ways, and so you need to divide through by 2 factorial to get rid of all the ones that look the same. So your final answer is going to be 360 for part 1. So, let's try part 2. This time we want to alternate between a consonant, then a vowel, then a consonant, then a vowel, and so forth until we get all the 8 letters down on a row. But I think sometimes with these questions you can be a little bit too fixated on physical placement as opposed to just the structure of it. So what I know is that the first one's going to, I forgot this, the top one is being consonant and the bottom one's being vowel. Consonant and then a vowel, and a consonant, then a vowel, and a consonant, then a vowel. Okay. Oops, and sorry, there's 8 letters, so a bit more. Okay, so because I'm going to end up multiplying stuff, it doesn't matter which way, in what order I multiply things. That's enough of a structural sort of tool to use to understand this question. So we look at the consonants first of all at the top, and we've got 4 consonants. We've got T, N, and Z. So we've got 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 ways to do the consonants, but we do have to remember to divide through by 2 factorial, and the 2 factorial letter will be the 2 N's. Okay, for the vowels, we've got 4 times 3, sorry, it's very messy, times 2 times 1. Okay, but in this case here, we're going to have to divide through by 3 factorial because of the 3 A's that will look the same. So when you put that all together, you're going to get 4 factorial, 4 factorial divided by the 2 factorial, so we get rid of the duplicate N's, times 4 factorial over 3 factorial, dividing by the 3 factorial to get rid of the duplicate A's. Okay, and when you do that whole calculation, you'll get 48. The reason why we're timesing here is because we are wanting all the different ways that this can happen to be joined with all the different ways that this can happen. So all the different ways the consonants can be arranged to be joined with all the different ways the vowels can be arranged. We want them all to happen at the same time. So by using another multiplicative sign here, it'll give us all the possible ways this can happen. Okay, right, on to part 3. This time we're selecting, which means we're moving into combinations. So the key words there are selections or choosings or well, you're basically choosing for groups or committees or that kind of things. This one, though, the keyword is selection. So we're selecting 4 of the letters, and we want exactly one N and one A. Now, these ones are really tricky because when you think about it, you're like, oh, how does this work? Because there's duplicate letters, and how do we do duplicate letters at the same time as combinations? So, I mean, the only way to do it is to force all the different ways that you want it to happen. So in this case here, we know we've got one N, and we know we've got one I. So in our group, one A, in our group of 4, okay, so N equals 4, we've already got an N and we've already got an A. Okay, so all we've got to worry about is 2 more spaces that we need, and we don't want any more N's or any more A's. And I suspect they've done that on purpose because the N's and the A's are the duplicate letters. So how many letters left over that aren't N's and A's? Well, there's the T, the Z, and the I. Okay, so out of those 3, we just want to choose 2 more to go into our group, okay, which is just 3. Okay, so moving on to part 4, which is kind of extending this. Now we just want exactly one N. So what we're going to have to do is, it's kind of like a partitioning approach that we'd use for permutations, but basically make a list of all the ways that this can happen and look at what else we would need to select to still make our group of 4. Okay, so I'm just going to move that out of the way again. Here we go. So let's look at my group here. So if I want there to be exactly one N, I'll put my N there, okay, and then I'm looking at what else I want in my group. So I need 3 more spaces in there, okay, so I can either have no A's, and so the rest can either be T, Z, or I, okay, or I can have 1 A, so that would be 3 that I'm selecting. I can have 1 A, which means then I'm only selecting 2 from T, Z, or I. I could have 2 A's, in which case then I'm only selecting 1 from T, Z, or I, or I could have 3 A's in my group, in which case I am selecting nothing from T, Z, or I. Okay, 0. So those are the 4 ways that I can force my groupings, and I need to do that approach because of those duplicate letters. When it's just people and stuff, it's much easier for combinations, but when it's letters, you've got to do this approach here. Okay, so if we go back through and look at what we've got, so if I've got 0 A's and I'm selecting 3 out of 3, that's just 3C3, so that equals 1. Okay, if I'm selecting 2 out of 3 here, that's 3C2, and that becomes out to be 3. If I'm selecting 1 out of the group, 3C1, that also comes out to be 3. And if I'm selecting none out of that, so 3C0, that also comes out to be 1. Okay, so I get 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1, so that ends up being 8 ways in total.